Coming up on the Inside Indiana Business Television podcast, Northeast Indiana brings an economic leader in from one of the nation's biggest cities. Is the future of electronic cars in central Indiana? We take you to 33 Brick Street. Oliver Winery toasts big growth. We take a look at Monumental Yoga. Business furniture looks to the classroom of the future. We talk to a homegrown Paralympic champion. And Concerts for a Cause makes its return. Welcome to the Inside Indiana Business Television podcast. I'm Andy Ober. The Northeast Indiana Regional Partnership has a new leader. Stefan Frija has roots in Italy and nearly a decade of business development experience in the Phoenix area. He joined Inside Indiana Business host Gary Dick to talk about what drew him to Indiana.
You're coming to us today from Phoenix, Arizona, where for the past number of years, 10 years or so, you have had a leadership role at the Greater Phoenix Economic Council. Phoenix, of course, one of the fastest growing areas in the country. A lot of economic development success there. Stefan, can we assume that you're going to bring a bit of a playbook from Arizona when you arrive in Northeast Indiana?
Yeah, you bet, 100%. Over the last few years in GPAC, we have created a great system to and capabilities to work with companies from all over the world. So I'll bring all that experience and tools and know-how to really reposition Northeast Indiana for new opportunities, both domestic and international. So I'm very excited about what we could do together with the local partners and the business community.
Hey, Stefan, what do you see as real opportunities in Northeast Indiana? Certainly Fort Wayne, one of the shining stars really in economic development and downtown activity in the state of Indiana. A lot of momentum there. You've got the orthopedic capital of the world not too far away in Warsaw. Talent is a big issue here. What do you see as real opportunities as you begin your new role?
I was very impressed about the work that has been done by my predecessor, John, and many others in the community about, what can the region provide and what companies already are there. So there's a strong automotive clusters. There's a strong, like I just said, orthopedics and medical device, precision metals and fabrications. And when you think about the national trends on reshoring and kind of bringing back, productions and advanced capabilities and jobs in the U.S., I think, Fort Wayne and the region of those 11 counties can play a fantastic role and really kind of be at the center of those conversations. I don't see anything particular that is lacking, in terms of opportunities and for Northeast Indiana. But it's about how you get into the right conversations with the right people at the right time. And this is something that here at GPAC over the last 10 years, have been cultivating, for many years. And we know how to, find out, who might be and the time making a decision or starting to make a decision about a new investment. Yeah. So the goal is to kind of bring back those playbook, those tactics, and then work with the partners and on new jobs opportunities for people to come.
Yeah, Stefan, you mentioned your predecessor, John Sampson, who did a fabulous job in that role for a number of years. Part of that success John had was in pulling, I think, the region together, all counties working together. How important is that when you look at economic development, regional economic development, to make sure everybody's kind of rowing, in the same direction?
Regionalism is important, and I'm a firm believer that when a region is strong and working the same directions, they're going to be more successful, together. When companies come in, they don't have the time capability to deal with, different counties, different cities, different politics. They like to have a turnkey solution, single point of contact, and everything streamlined. So, John and others have done this already, kind of create the foundation for all that. My job is to continue to advance that and make sure that, the partnerships has the right tools so that we can actually be a value-added partner on those conversations.
Stefan Frija, the new president and CEO of the Northeast Indiana Regional Partnership, coming to us from Phoenix this week. And Stefan, really a pleasure to meet you virtually. Look forward to seeing you when you arrive in Indiana.
Thank you for having me.
Motor, a driving force to power the future of electric vehicles, is now partnering with Indianapolis-based AES Indiana. The hope is to convince consumers to adopt electric cars. Motor President Praveen Kathpal came on the show with more.
This is an innovative approach, and we'll get into your partnership with AES Indiana in a minute. Did something when you kind of launched the idea several months ago, but give us really the business model, if you will, for Motor. It's an app where folks can connect and get, electric vehicles, get vehicles in a very convenient way. Give us the bottom line on that.
Sure thing. And Motor is a company that aims to accelerate electric car adoption. And we're doing that by looking at barriers and knocking down those barriers to make driving electric more accessible for more customers. One of the problems that we saw right now is that it's too hard. And that's one of the reasons we launched our first service, Motor Drive, here in Indianapolis, which is a monthly electric car subscription service. We're one of the only companies offering a fully electric car subscription in the country. And there you can choose from a variety of models of cars. They all have over 200 miles of range. And you just download our app, sign up, we bring a car to your house, and we set you up with everything you need to charge. So that's the easiest way to get a car. And then what we're also doing is we're working with utility companies to bring this experience to more customers around the country.
Well, let's talk about that. You're partnering with AES Indiana in that regard. What does the partnership with utilities and working with utilities bring to the table when it comes to electric vehicle adoption?
So we're working with AES Indiana. That's the first utility nationally that we're partnering with, and utilities have a strong interest in bringing more innovative solutions to their customers. Of course, they want electricity demand to grow, but even more, this is a new sustainable offering that customers are interested in. And what Motor does is help equip utilities to bring a better experience for customers, because it's not just about learning about electric cars, getting a car. It's also about getting you set up with charging at home and making sure that you have the best deal on fuel from your utility.
Yeah. Give us a quick idea so far of traction, consumer acceptance, how the reaction to this, to the Motor model, if you will.
Yeah, our customers love it, largely because it's so easy. Mm-hmm. And mainly I'm talking about members of our Motor Drive subscription. And here's a great example. We have a customer in Broad Ripple, and they had been thinking about electric cars and hadn't quite decided to go all the way in. They heard about us in the paper, and they realized that going with Motor could make it super easy, where they could get the car, we'd bring it to their house, we'd get a charger installed in their home. And that's what's made it such a perfect fit for busy professionals, parents, empty nesters, and anyone who just wants an easy experience.
Yeah, as we wrap up, the reason for the launch, I know the partnership with the AES Indiana, but the launch in Indianapolis, this is a city with a long tradition of electric vehicles in terms of technology and innovation. So that piece makes Indianapolis, I guess, attractive as well.
Yeah, it's been a great market. People drive. There's a high reliance on cars. But there's also a history and a culture of automotive innovation. So that's made Indianapolis a perfect market to start with.
Praveen Kaufpal, the president of Motor, thanks for joining us. We look forward to continuing to following the story.
Thanks for having me. Take care, Gary.
All right.
What began as an idea between two old friends from French Lick in 2008 has turned into a dining destination with a basketball twist. Reporter Mary Rachel Redman has the story of 33 Brick Street.
French Lick is known best for one name.
I travel extensively for work, and when I'm talking about the French Lick Resort or this destination, I always get, home to Larry Bird. So that immediately lets people know where we're at and what our trademark kind of is.
Even though it's been almost 50 years since Bird graduated from Springs Valley High School, the hick from French Lick is still a major player in generating dollars for small business in his hometown.
He has allowed a different kind of tourism. At 33 Brick Street, you can actually get hands-on with a lot of his memorabilia.
33 Brick Street is the brainchild of Tracy Tucker and Danny Weichert, both born and raised in French Lick.
Danny's dad was actually the superintendent of the school here, so that's how they all know Larry.
Yes, that Larry.
They wanted to do something for the area, fun related, sports theme. The area had nothing like this. They approached Larry with some plans and said, they were just looking for something unique to put in here, just 1 or 2 items. Well, when they got to Larry's, it wasn't displayed, it was in a barn. He was like, take all of this.
The essence of greatness is literally still on this jacket. Larry Bird's original 92 Dream Team warm-up.
His shoes and jacket and everything was still in the duffel bag from the Olympics when it was brought here. Had never been removed.
He called himself the Hick from French Lick, and here in French Lick at 33 Brick Street, you can literally touch history. This is Larry Bird's MVP trophy from the 85-86 season.
This is all his college and NBA tourney championship trophies, all originals.
Just as authentic as the memorabilia is 33 Brick Street's food.
We specialize in tenderloins, our homemade Indiana pork tenderloin, of course, that we hand bread here in house. Our steaks and burgers are all 100% certified Angus beef. Our fish and chips is a very good hand-breaded fish that is really popular throughout the area. A lot of nice items on our menu.
And if you still don't have your Larry fix after a stop at 33 Brick Street, why not spend the night at the 12-time All-Star's first house he built after entering the NBA? The Legend of French Lick Resort is like an 80s time capsule filled with most of Bird's original appliances and even furniture. You can rent the entire 20-acre property that includes
an outdoor pool, there's basketball court, tennis courts. It's a huge house, there's a lot of space. We have 6 large suites. Every one of them have their own personal bathroom. One of them even has their own kitchen.
The owner's suite, Larry Bird's former master bedroom, and maybe just as intriguing, the celebrity suite, rumored to be built just for Magic Johnson when he was in town. And some may argue this is the court that changed the face of the NBA when Larry Bird and Magic Johnson cemented their lifelong bond, shooting a Converse commercial in the 80s.
Well, they made a pair of Magic shoes for this year's MVP. Okay, Magic, show me what you got.
It's also famous for this clip.
I don't know, son. I don't think you're ever going to make it.
Can't run, can't jump, bad back, pathetic.
People come from all over. We've had people from Australia come just to try on the jacket. I think we do get a lot of business for Larry Bird, yes.
Bird wins it at the buzzer.
Mary Rachel Redmond, Inside Indiana Business.
Oliver Winery keeps on growing. The Bloomington-based winery is now the 29th largest in the country, with plans for more expansion. CEO Julie Adams joined us with details.
So many people in Indiana certainly have heard of Oliver and the story of Bill Oliver, the IU professor, law professor, homemade winemaker, started the company, started the winery in 1972. A lot has changed. You're really on a growth trajectory.
Right. Yes, we have been really proud to double in size in the last 2.5 years. So we have grown a long way since 1972 and our starting.
Yeah, we were talking off camera a moment ago. The real kind of turning point, if you will, was a couple of years ago in the introduction of cherry and blueberry Moscato. So that those products really accelerated growth. Talk about that.
Yeah, they sure have. We released them as a small batch experimental wine in our tasting room about 5 years ago. And lots of times we'll use the tasting room as a place where we can try things out and see how the customers respond. And immediately they were just a very big hit. They kind of unseated the big sellers in the tasting room right away. And they are wines that we use. They're Moscato wines, and we use fruit juice and extracts with cherry and blueberry to flavor them. And they just have a lot of different aspects to them that customers have really responded to. They've got some effervescence. They are lower alcohol beverages, which is important and something that folks are responding to today. And they just have a crisp, refreshing taste that people have just loved.
Yeah, a lot of folks may not know that has really expanded your geographic reach, your footprint in a big way. So when those products were introduced, you were maybe in about 14 states. That's grown exponentially.
Right, yes. And today we're in 41 states. And we really were able to take those wines and work with some of our retailer partners that we were selling with in the Midwest and expand the placements that we have with them to lots of states across the U.S. today.
Interesting piece of the business, too. I know earlier this year it was announced that a New York investment firm had taken a majority stake in Oliver. And in the market now, again, as we were talking before the interview, very much a consolidated industry. So having that player involved with Oliver, I know you view has been a real positive.
It sure has, yes. So we closed on that investment in March, and it's with a group called Next Phase Capital, and they've brought investment advisors that have worked in the alcoholic beverage industry just at the highest levels to our business, to the table. Some of the members of the advisory team that we have on board at this point have worked at the highest levels at Anheuser-Busch, at Bacardi, at Moet Hennessy. And in an industry like ours, where the top 6 wineries in the U.S. sell over 50% of the wine on grocery store shelves, those are their brands. We just have a really fierce competitive place in which we're selling our wine today. And having people that are resources for us, that know how those larger players operate, how they scale manufacturing, how they work from a sales and marketing standpoint, has been really important for us as we seek to keep growing the winery here in Indiana.
Yeah, you've doubled production in recent years, added jobs as well. That trajectory looks to continue. Julie Adams, the CEO at Oliver Winery. Julie, thanks for joining us. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me today.
All right.
Remember, you can catch Inside Indiana Business Television on stations throughout the state every weekend. Head to InsideIndianaBusiness.com to check listings. A shared passion for physical, spiritual, and mental health brought thousands of people together in the heart of downtown Indianapolis over the weekend. Ahead of the event, Monumental Yoga President Susie Bindley spoke with Kylie Valletta about this year's event and its economic and health benefits.
We'll talk about your nonprofit in just a minute, but first, give us a quick overview of the event. What can we expect this year? It's back in person, so that's the good news. Just tell us a little bit about it.
Well, Monumental Yoga, this will be our 9th year, and what we do is from 2 to 8 p.m., we've got the entire circle. We've got 40 different vendors that make artisan products, all kinds of homemade items. We've got 9 food trucks coming as well, and we'll hold mini classes for kids and people prior to the community class, which starts at 5. And we timed it so that people that attend the Colts game can just throw their yoga mat in the car and then come and join us. So we're looking forward to a large crowd, another beautiful day like we have today. So couldn't be happier about it.
Yes, Scott, good luck with the weather for sure. So talk a little bit about Indie Yoga Movement. This event benefits your nonprofit. Tell us just a little bit about the mission of Indie Yoga Movement.
Well, Indie Yoga Movement, our goal is to empower youth by teaching them life skills. When we go in and teach a yoga class, we give a story, and we always base the story upon some type of theme that is a good virtue that we'd like children to have, or a coping mechanism for the students to have. We're K through 12. We're all over central Indiana and largely in Marion County, as you touched on a minute ago. So we're seeing great progress with all of our programs. We formed a not-for-profit in 2014, but we actually started teaching in 2012. So we've taught over 30,000 students in these years, over 4,400 classes. So we're really thrilled at the impact we've been able to generate.
And so your whole model is based on going into schools and doing yoga classes at the school. And, gosh, I think about COVID and everything that kids have been through with virtual school, hybrid, in school, out of school, masks, no masks, and just policies changing every day. They've been through so much. Do you feel like, now is more important than ever to help these kids kind of decompress and just the benefits of yoga right now?
Absolutely. And we're really trying to emphasize, we're teaching the kids how to breathe and how to get a chance to really evaluate their thoughts and giving them tools to calm themselves down. And the kids are so appreciative of our coming, and they're telling us that, we're doing this at other times. we're not in class. So we're trying to impart with them some skills that they'll be able to take with them other places. And especially this time of the pandemic, we're now in a place, also touching back on Monumental, we'll have only 40 vendors in the entire circle. So we've got much more space than we've ever had. But back to the students, they are really just seeking us out, and they are appreciative because they're just a good group of kids that we've got here in Indiana. So we're really fortunate and pleased to be able to be with all these nice kids.
And only a few seconds left, Susie, but from kids to grown-ups alike, I heard you say somewhere else that ultimately you just want to make Indiana a kinder, more inclusive place. And gosh, isn't that what we need right now? Can you talk just a little bit about that?
Oh, absolutely. We're trying to teach the kids, and we share stories about how it makes a difference. Find that student that's sitting there by themselves. Make sure that you've got the guts and the bravery to sit there and change the narrative when someone is being bullied or when someone is experiencing a hard time. You be the brave one that is going forward and including these people with you. And just extend some generosity, extend kindness and fairness. And it really helps students. We don't know what battles they're going through. So they're really receptive and just wanting us to be back as often as we can.
All right. Well, Susie, I'm happy to say that you're getting to have your event in person again. So good luck this weekend. And I just hope it's fantastic.
Oh, thank you, Kylie.
The pandemic has changed how educators and school districts view their learning spaces. Indianapolis-based Business Furniture has an eye on the classroom of the future. The company's director of K-12 education joined us in our Eye on Education segment.
You're coming to us from your space in downtown Fishers, really interesting, functional, and neat space in downtown Fishers. I've always been fascinated by companies like yours, Business Furniture and Choreo, and that focus on research and technology and innovation in designing these spaces. I assume has a lot to do with how you've kind of reinvented education and learning space.
That's 100% accurate. I mean, we believe space shapes behavior, and behavior shapes culture, and culture drives success. And that's as true in education as it is in workplace.
Yeah. Looking at the challenge here, and I mentioned it in the introduction there, but this challenge of keeping students engaged, whether it's in-person learning or many times the virtual learning, that's the big challenge in this whole process. Talk about how you went about or are going about working with school districts to create space that can make that happen.
Yeah, there's a lot of components to that. So there's a thing called roomies and zoomies, being able to have in-person and a remote learning at the same time. And there's a lot of research that we're doing that Steelcase has got going on. In fact, we have a presentation on the 28th that's going to be about that. But we're helping schools. Technology is a good component of getting people into that space. And in person, we're helping them try to be better at being able to interact with each other as they are remotely.
Yeah. We'll talk about specifically some of the features, some of the changes you've implemented and are implementing in classrooms throughout Indiana.
Yeah, it's hard. So we're trying to be more engaging, but at the same time, we have to react to the pandemic. And part of that is to create a safe environment. So social distancing is a key component, right, of having a safe environment. So desks that can reconfigure, that can spread out to provide that 3 to 6 foot spatial distancing. So that's one of it, desks with casters, so the room can reconfigure. There's other things too on that safety level that we're helping with too, by the way. Simple things like totes that have antimicrobial components in them so that within 24 hours, 99.9% of the microbes are killed.
That's amazing technology. And what's it done in terms of school systems and districts around the state? They've got to change their thinking too. This is a new ball game, kind of, as they say, the new normal. So school systems need to kind of adjust in that way too.
Yeah, for sure. And it's hard because it puts pressure on teachers, quite frankly, quite a bit. So we need to be thinking about teacher spaces. We need to think about supporting them, giving them space to be the tools to be able to teach remotely, to be able to teach in person, and that flexibility to do both. And I guess flexibility is a big word right now, or even more importantly, agility, because things have happened so fast, so rapidly, that you need to be able to change as a mask mandate happens, or as whatever the next mandate comes. You need to be able to have those adjustments.
Yeah. So as we wrap up, really, this is going to be an ongoing thing in terms of classroom design. And as we were talking off camera before the interview, as you said, ultimately, kind of the safety is the overriding issue as you look at these new designs, new spaces.
Yes, absolutely. Safety is a huge component of it, as well as just building that well-being for the student and for the teacher. It's definitely going to be an ongoing process, and we have a lot of partners that will help kind of create the best plan of action for each district.
Dana Tolman is Director of K-12 Education, Business Furniture, and Choreo. Dana, thanks for some interesting perspective on the changing face of the classroom. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely, Gary. Thank you very much for having me.
Noah Malone hasn't let vision loss hold him back from Olympic glory. The Indiana State University student-athlete recently won a gold and 2 silver medals at the 2020 Paralympics in Tokyo. He joined Bill Benner on Inside Indiana Sports to talk about the experience.
We'll talk about your condition here in a moment. I just wanted to get your general feelings about the Tokyo experience with the Paralympics and the success you had. You would have won. It took 2 world records to beat you in the 100 and 400 meters, and then you got the gold medal on the relay team. But what a fantastic experience. Talk about that if you would, Noah.
Fantastic, yeah, to say the least. I really cannot even put that experience into words. That was my 4th international trip, and the past 3 honestly don't even compare to Tokyo. I was over there for about 27 days. We were at an Air Force base for the first 10, and then we transitioned into the village, and every single day was something special. Like competing in that big even with no fans, it was still amazing. Like competing in that big stadium. I had 6 total races. So, I was able to race 6 different times at that stadium, and it was special every single time. I cannot compare to any school meet, any type of meet I've ever been into. So it was great. The culture there was great too. So can't complain at all.
Well, this all began in your early teens when you were in school, and you suddenly had trouble focusing on what was being written on the chalkboard. And further tests discovered that you had a condition called Leber's hereditary optic neuropathy. And the result was you have a 2400 vision in your left eye, 2600 in your right eye. But nonetheless, you continue to use track and competing as your inspiration. And as I mentioned, you won that IHSA 200-meter race in 2019. But what an unbelievable story and path that you've followed to this point.
Thank you. It definitely has been a journey. All 6 years, because I lost my vision in 2015, like you said. So almost 6 years to the month. It would have been August of 2015. So it's been a long process, getting introduced to para sports, down the line, going to the blind school and HSC at the same time, being dual enrolled. So there's been different experiences, different lessons I've learned. But, it all has come to create, the person I am today. So I'm thankful for every single step I've been able to take.
Well, Noah, and you've written a book about your experience losing vision, not dreams. It's really an outstanding read, and I would suggest that any youngster facing challenges would benefit by reading this. What was the motivation behind that?
Honestly, the motivation behind that was just to give hope to people who are going through something at such a young age. That was really what I was aiming at, because when I was 13, I probably would have loved to have a book or anything to just to see that somebody else is going through the same thing as me. And that would definitely give me more hope. So the goal with this and the purpose behind this was just to put a message behind the book and a message out there in general to anybody, not even just youngsters, but, if you're going through something, just find something to motivate you. And honestly, it would make the hard situation better. That's what happened to me. So that was really the main purpose behind the book.
No, we got less than a minute to wrap up. What's ahead? You're competing for Indiana State University, one of the only, maybe the only or one of the very few legally blind runners competing in NCAA Division I. And I know you're looking ahead to further Paralympics competitions, most notably Paris in 2024. Talk about what's next.
Yeah, as of now, I'm just catching up on all the schoolwork I've kind of been behind on. But like you said, just competing for ISU in this next upcoming school season. That'll lead me into World Championships next year in Kobe, Japan, August of next year. So right now, I'm just kind of settling into the campus and going to class like a normal student. And then in a few months, I'll go back to training and just get underway with the school season. So that's about it. Just taking every day by day pretty much.
Well, Noah, again, thanks for coming on the program. A wonderful story of inspiration, and we wish you nothing but the best in what's to come in the months of the years ahead. Noah Malone, thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much.
And finally this week, thanks to the pandemic, the Tunes stopped for nearly a year and a half. But now, entertainers are once again sharing their musical skills through Concerts for a Cause. Co-founder Bruce Kidd joined us with details.
You're going to talk about Concerts for a Cause in terms of getting back on stage, if you will, but go back 5 years or so and the idea behind Concerts for a Cause and how it all got started.
Yeah, the idea was we did a pilot concert in August of 2015 for a not-for-profit. I was the chairman of the board as kind of a thank you to all of our supporters. And after the concert, I was leaving, and one of the guests came up to me and said, I think you've got a concept that could help other not-for-profits. It's unique and it's engaging, and you can raise money, and there are lots of not-for-profits that need help. Would you consider doing that? And I said, well, yes, I love music and I loved the thought of giving back to the community, but I'd need some help. And he said, I'm in. And that gentleman was Steve Neely, who was the president of Cisco Foods here in Indianapolis. And so we launched it in January of 2016, not knowing what would happen and if anybody would show up. I knew I could get the artists to come and play. I've gotten a network of artists I've known over the years, but we didn't know if the concept would work. And in the first year, we had, 100, 125 people show up. And then each year, it continued to grow, and our support grew from local corporate sponsors, which was really important. And the last concert we did before the pandemic hit was January of 2020, and we had over 400 people there. And It was a great event. And so then, like all other event organizations, we had to take a pause, as you said.
Yeah.
But it's grown a lot. We've been very, very appreciative of all the support. And as you said, we've donated almost $300,000 to some really worthy small local not-for-profits.
Yeah, so you're back now, and obviously those nonprofits who, like everyone else has suffered through the pandemic. Now that you're back on stage, talk about kind of maybe some pin-up interest, pin-up demand for some of this entertainment, because you're really getting some great local talent on stage as well.
Yeah, well, yeah, we are. It's and all those artists, the local artists that we showcase at each event, plus the national artists like Gabe Dixon, who you just entered the segment with, are really talented artists, but they've been off for a year too, and they're really excited to get out and play. And then there are a lot of people like you and I that are big music fans that didn't get to do anything for over a year. And so it's been nice to give people an opportunity to come back and see some really talented people in a live music venue. We go to different venues each time. They're always fun. And then also give back to the community. Your ticket, we donate all the money from ticket revenue to a different not-for-profit at each concert. So you can feel good about the entertainment value, but you also feel good about helping others in need.
Yeah. Hey, Bruce, before we go, only have about 30 seconds left. Want to touch on the listening room. You are a philanthropic, a giving person. Here's another example, trying to give back, trying to help out artists who've really struggled, certainly during the pandemic. Tell me about the Listening Room, which is a partnership between you and another tech entrepreneur in Mike Simmons.
Yeah, Mike and I are big music fans, and he's very, very philanthropic as well. And he's got a beautiful facility on East Washington called the Silo Auto Club. Inside that building is a room that's perfect for small concerts of 50, 60, 70 people. and we called it the Listening Room. And our objective is to showcase 3 different local artists each month in a songwriters round where they each play music for the audience, hour and a half, and ticket price is $29, and you get food as well, and it's just a great experience. Plus, it gives all these local artists a chance to get out and perform again, which they're really, really wanting to do. So it's been great. We've been doing them since June. We've got another one coming up this month on the 23rd, and we're going to do them the rest of the year.
Very good, Bruce. Hey, congratulations on this. Really a great, worthwhile cause. Concerts for a Cause, back on stage, and good luck going forward. Hope to see you soon.
Thanks, my friend.
That wraps up this week's Inside Indiana Business television podcast. Remember, you can find all of this week's TV segments, as well as the top business news from throughout the state at InsideIndianaBusiness.com. While you're there, you can also subscribe to our platform of free e-newsletters. This is Andy Ober for Inside Indiana Business.